Hello, Arizona. I'm Suzy Guarino, your host today with the Inside View. In Arizona, we have been dealing with vaccinations and immunizations for a while, and some of the controversies still remain with us. Do we need them? How safe are they? Who are they for? Will Humble, the director of the Arizona Department of Health Services, is here to help us make sense of all of this. Will, thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
All right, well, let's get to it. Vaccinations. Who are they for? What are they for?
A lot of people think of vaccines as something for me, but really vaccines are something for our community. And what are they? They've really changed the way we view risk. You know, 70 years ago, people were petrified of infectious diseases. In fact, it was not unusual for kids to die before the age of 5 from an infectious disease that's now preventable because of vaccines. And I think because of the fact that we don't see those diseases anymore, it's really changed our perspective about how important it is to get vaccinated.
Absolutely. Well, when and where do you get them?
Well, the best place to get your vaccinations is with your primary health care provider. If you're in rural Arizona, a lot of places get care at a community health center. That's another great place. But you can also get vaccines at clinics at the mall, right before school, and other convenient places. So just really anywhere, but your medical home is best.
Okay. Well, when is the best time to get them?
Well, it starts really at childbirth. The first recommended vaccine is right after birth.
Wow.
They don't do the slap on the bottom anymore. It's actually a hepatitis B shot in the thigh. So it starts there. And it ends when you're a senior and you're 99 years old, you should still be getting your flu shot. So it's the whole spectrum.
Well, that's great. Well, we're going to take a break for a couple of minutes, and let's find out what Arizonans know about immunizations. Now that we have a basic understanding, let's visit our roving reporter, Bill Dyer, who has the outside view. Bill?
Thank you, Suzy. We are here at the beautiful Arizona Center in downtown Phoenix, where we'll be asking Arizonans their thoughts on immunizations. What are immunizations and what do they do?
Well, it's been a long time since my 5th grade science class.
Well, immunizations would be shots that you're given when you're younger to make sure that you don't get some of the more life-threatening diseases like polio and stuff like that.
Immunizations are what the government says people need in order to protect themselves from diseases.
The immunization helps people fight off the disease by giving the receptors on the cells some blocks to work with.
Can immunizations cause illness?
Well, yes, they can definitely cause illness. There's been plenty of reports and history of people being able to people getting sick because they were immunized with some kind of a disease that they didn't have in the first place.
Who should be immunized?
Well, young children, and I'm sure the elderly and folks with weaker immune systems, right?
If you give it to young people, that can cause autism.
Give immunizations to everybody, then we kind of wipe out the disease itself.
Now let's learn a little bit more about immunizations. Back to you, Suzy, in the studio.
Wow, that was a lot of eye-opening and very different viewpoints, Arizona. Thanks so much, Bill. All right, Will, let's get back into this. Now, the biggest debate, I think, is about autism and vaccinations. Can you kind of brief us a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, what that really ties to is the question of vaccine safety. And the bottom line is, I can't think of anything that's tested as carefully and as thoroughly as vaccines are. I mean, there's an enormous amount of testing that goes into a vaccine before it's approved by the FDA. And there are tons of studies that show there's no association between vaccines and anything like autism. I mean, I know there was some discussion of that going back a few years, but that's really been addressed.
Well, Will, tell me a little bit about religion and faith-based rights regarding to vaccinations.
Right. Well, in Arizona, the state law says that you can opt out of vaccines for school. So if you have a religious reason why you don't want to get your kids vaccinated, I respect that. State law respects that, and so your kids can still go to public school. There's under-vaccinated kids, and those are kids who have difficulty accessing care because of transportation reasons, et cetera. For that group of folks, we need to make it easier to get vaccinated before they get to school. We have another category of families who choose not to vaccinate their kids. Those are unvaccinated kids. And those are the ones where we really need to have these kinds of discussions so that those families understand that the decisions they make for their kids to not get them vaccinated not only put their kid at risk, but put the community at risk.
And so do you see more people getting educated about this?
Well, that's what it's so important to do in forums like this, is to get the information out there to folks about how safe vaccines are, but also to emphasize that it's really part of your social contract with your neighborhood, your family, and your community to vaccinate your family.
Excellent, excellent. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do with the Arizona Department of Health Services.
Well, it's an enormous responsibility. We're responsible for everything for the behavioral health services for folks in Arizona. We license and inspect all the places where you get care, from hospitals all the way down to child care facilities. And we're also responsible for programs like Women, Infant, and Children, so it's a nutrition program for kids, physical activity nutrition, public health preparedness. We've got the state public health laboratory. So it's a lot of responsibility, and I'm just honored to be given that responsibility for now.
Do you sleep?
I do actually sleep. I went to bed at 8:30 last night.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us. From the inside view to the outside view, what's your view, Arizona? I'm Suzy Guarino, and this has been The Inside View.